morning, everyone. How you doing? What's going on? I hope that you're all doing well, and I welcome you wholeheartedly with open arms. Open arms. That looks a little better. To today's PreStream podcast, the first of the week. As I start a new streaming week, and I literally mean a new streaming week, because I will be here 7 straight streaming days starting right now. There you go. I'm Darkside Phil, by the way. How you doing? Today is Tuesday, the 22nd of March, 2022. What's up? Hi. How was your day yesterday? Hope your day yesterday was good. Yesterday was my day off from streaming to spend time with my family, to run errands, and to relax. And in a lot of ways, yesterday was a really relaxing day, which I enjoyed. After basically playing Elden Ring for a week straight. I played it every single major stream last week. And let me tell you something. Is it fun? Yes. Is it engaging? Sure. Is the viewing audience liking it? Yeah, to some extent. And what I mean by that is there's a large group of people who do. Although, admittedly, there are some people who are kind of getting burnt out on it and want to see me do a variety of stuff, which is one of the major topics we're going to talk about on today's PreStream podcast. Because some of the games that I was intending to play are coming out this week, and now I don't know if I'm playing them. Figures, right? But anyway, if anything, the one thing about Elden Ring is that it takes a lot out of you. It's a very stressful game. It's not meant to be relaxing in the least. I don't know how anyone could actually play Elden Ring and be like, wow, I was really chill, and I just unwound, and I felt really, laid back, and I recuperated and rested when I played Elden Ring. Like, that's like the polar opposite of this game, right? Unlike a lot of other games that can be played and say, wow, that's exactly what those games are meant to be. Elden Ring takes a lot out of you. Not to say that's a bad thing. Games with challenge can be very rewarding as you overcome said challenge. But at the same time, playing it every single day, having the day away to relax is a good thing. Let's put it that way. So it was a good day off yesterday, and we're going to talk about that during the segment, the Phil's Day Off segment of the PreStream podcast today. But I'm ready. I'm ready to come back and reapply myself this week. But the major thing we're going to be talking about on today's podcast is what should the schedule be for the full week or not, because of some circumstances, which we'll cover, all right? So, today's podcast has a lot of topics. We're going to talk about the schedule for the upcoming week. We're going to talk about various gaming news stories. There's actually 4 stories to talk about today. Some will be real quick, and some will have more in-depth analysis. My day off segment. So there's a lot to do, so I say let's just get right into it, considering the fact that we've got so much to talk about on today's stream, okay? So first of all, welcome or welcome back. I hope you guys had a good Monday. I certainly did. Why don't we just go right into the Phil's Day Off segment, right? Or like I like to call it, Phil's Day Off. There you go. Yesterday, I wake up in the morning, and my neck is sore. And I'm like, oh, man, it must have been another one of these nights when I slept weird on my neck. Now, you remember a few weeks ago I told you guys I had pretty bad upper back pain. I guess what had happened was, again, I was sleeping in a weird position, and likely I either pinched or depressed a disc in my neck, and I woke up with shooting pain and numbness in my upper back, which I've never really had. It made me nervous because, as you guys may or may not know, in the mid-2000s to late 2000s, I had a lot of back pain and back issues. They really didn't resolve themselves mostly until around 2014, 2015, when I moved out here to Washington and I adjusted my lifestyle in a way that I lost weight, but also that I didn't have to really strain my back physically anymore to do anything. But I had severely bad back pain, a severely herniated disc in my lower back at one point. And it was bad. Doctors told me if I didn't do something to change my lifestyle that I could have it rupture and end up having major problems for the rest of my life and might require surgery. So, when this back pain started a few weeks ago, I was very nervous about it. I was like, this is not good. What if this is the signs that something else is going wrong with my back? The good news is within like 3-4 days, it was gone. So it must have been, just like I said, a nerve pinch or sleeping a weird way and twisting my back or wrenching my back, or even, maybe it was a minor thing with my disc, but it wasn't a big deal. So yesterday I wake up in the morning and my neck is sore. I'm like, this is a bad sign. So I start to move around. I realize something. Uh-oh. Let me tell you a quick story. You guys probably already will know this if you're a longtime fan. About 10 years ago, one morning, I wake up, and this is back when I used to make videos daily in Connecticut. It was my full-time job. And I just was stretching. And I still remember the moment this happened. I was standing in the doorway of my bathroom at my old condo in Connecticut, stretching and just like moving my neck around and stretching and everything. And all of a sudden, as I'm doing this, I feel sharp, shooting, excruciating pain from my neck all the way down the back of my shoulder, through my shoulder, all the way through the front of my arm, all the way through the forearm into my right thumb. Okay? And it is like excruciating. After a little bit, it went away. I had to take a lot of, what I call NSAIDs, like Tylenol and stuff. But I couldn't feel my right thumb at all. It was completely numb. It was a stupid text that had nothing to do with anything. Yeah. And I was like, this is bad. I wonder what's going to happen. So, over the course of about 2 months, the pain would come and go. Sometimes I would get numbness. And my right thumb, I literally couldn't feel. I was scheduled to go to a Street Fighter tournament. This was at the very tail end of me going to competitive Street Fighter tournaments. And I went to this tournament to play Marvel vs. Capcom 3, back when it was new and popular. And during that tournament, I realized I couldn't play because I used my thumb to hit the buttons. Like, there's actually combos and things where you use the thumb for the launcher. I couldn't feel my thumb. So I'm in the middle of a combo. I'm like, what happened? The button dropped? No, I'm not even hitting the button, but I can't tell because I can't feel my thumb. So I ended up having to forfeit the tournament, and it was a complete waste of my time and money because I couldn't play in it. It was bad, and it was scary. And basically at that time, I realized that at any time in my life, I could do something to my neck or my back that could screw me up. Apparently, it's just an issue. Now, over the years, my dad also has had tons of back problems. He used to never have any, and then all of a sudden he started having them badly. So apparently this is a hereditary thing, where his back is bad, my back is bad. It sucks, but at the very same time, thank goodness that my career has allowed me to do something for a living that I don't need to do any kind of strenuous physical activity. In the scope of things, thank God I'm not someone who's doing physical labor, or even to some extent a job where I have to do the same kind of repetitive motion over and over and over every day, where I could be injuring and re-injuring myself constantly. Okay? So that being said, why am I bringing all this up? Yesterday morning, on my day off, I wake up, and my neck is killing me, and I'm like, I wonder what happened. So, long story short, this is my left hand, okay? Everything's great, except that I can't feel the very top of it. Right now, this is numb. Well, it's not fully numb. I guess what I should say is it's number than it should be. Like, if I go like this, I can actually feel the pricking of my beard on it, okay? I can feel, like, heat and cold on it, but for some reason, when I touch it like this, I really don't feel much. It's very numb. And it's only on the top of my hand. It actually doesn't affect my motor function. As you can see, like, I'm still moving it fine. Everything here is fine. It's just on the top of my freaking hand. I can't feel it for right now. Now, what the hell does that mean? Probably means I pinched another nerve or a disc in my neck, and that one signal, right, is screwed up. Shooting that signal to my brain or whatever it is, you know? And I'm like, dude, this is so stupid. Like, probably this is going to be just like my back. This will last 3-4 days, and then the feeling will come back. Likely what's going to happen is the rest of my life's going to be like this. And there's not much I can do about it, because back issues are back issues. And every doctor says that, too. They're like, yeah, when you have lingering back issues or you have a history of back issues, there's not much you can do besides treat the issue, as opposed to, like, what could have caused it? What am I going to do? Sleep in a neck brace every night to make sure I don't twist my neck and accidentally do something? You know what I'm saying? It's really dumb. And it's absolutely hilarious. The people in the stream chat right now, every time I talk about something like this, these people, completely out of touch with reality, go right to the doctor. Go see a doctor. Go for the doctor. You can't. That's not how American healthcare works. Here's what would happen if I wanted to get this checked out. I would have to go into the app for my health insurance. I would have to schedule an appointment to talk with someone through a chat, explain the symptoms. Then they would likely give me a referral to go to an urgent care facility, which you go to, and the people at the urgent care facility don't know shit. They literally just take your data and confirm that you have a medical issue. Then if they deem that it's something worthy of actually seeing a doctor for, they'll try to get you into a doctor's office for a specialist. No exaggeration, it takes about 2 months to see a specialist. I know because 2 years ago, I had a series of ear infections, and it took me a month to get the appointment with the urgent care guy, and then after that, I couldn't even schedule the appointment with the urgent care specialist, the ear care specialist, because the appointments were so booked. By the time that I got the appointment, the ear infections were gone. That's American healthcare. I'm not kidding. It sucks ass that badly. So hilarious that some people think that's how it works. Oh, you can just go right to the doctor. On what planet exactly? Maybe if I lived in another country where there was more socialized healthcare, everyone got it for free. Even then, I've heard those are terrible, that you have to make an appointment and you wait months and months and months. So by the time that likely I would get in for numbness on the top of my hand, the issue would be completely gone. You know? Here's the deal. If this continues to happen, I will definitely see a doctor. Obviously, it's a little bit, how can I say? It makes you a little bit nervous when I know I have a history of back issues. My dad has a history of back issues. And it seems like this is something that's happening now more frequently. And what am I supposed to do about it? I can't control how I move in my sleep. I don't even know what's happening in my sleep to cause it. You know what I'm saying? It's very annoying. And absolutely, people are saying, well, it could get worse. You're right. So if I continue to see this as an ongoing pattern or something, then I'm probably going to have to see a doctor. But even then, again, I know the history of American healthcare. Likely that until there's a major issue, the doctor won't be able to do shit. Hell, when I had my major back issue about over 10 years ago, I had to go to the doctor 3 times and convince the doctor that I wasn't, like, making it up, that I was actually in excruciating pain before he would schedule me to get an MRI. And then in the MRI, he goes, oh shit, your disc is about to explode. Well, yeah, doc, that's why I fucking came to see you 3 fucking times to tell you that my back hurt, and you didn't believe me. You think I'm, like, making it up because I'm fat. I was fat back then or something. Like, he was an asshole. And not to say that every doctor's like that, but that's basically American healthcare. It's like you have to actually beg to get help. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of jumping through hoops for no fucking good reason. I don't understand why it's like that. It's just not easy to get the help you need, especially if you don't exactly know what's going on with you. All right? When I went to the doctor in 2015, because my foot had swollen up and I was in excruciating pain, okay? So I go to the doctor, and the doctor asks me, so what do you think it is? I came to see you to pay you to tell me what this is. The doctor literally asked me, what do you think it is? And I said, well, you know, judging by the symptoms, judging by what I found online, I think it's probably gout. To which the doctor looks and goes, yeah, I think that's probably what it is, but let's run some tests and, you know, we'll confirm it. But yeah, I think so. Like, I'm not even kidding. American healthcare, where the doctor asks you what's wrong with you. Gee, thanks, morons. You know, like, what the fuck? So anyway, that being said, no, I'm not going to the doctor right now, all right? Likely, this issue, first of all, is so stupid. Like I said, it feels kind of numbish right here, and it's literally just right here. That's it. Everything else I can feel, it definitely won't affect me playing games. I can fully feel everything move my hand. You know what I mean? It's not going to affect anything there. There's no pain. It's just odd numbness, okay? So we'll see what happens. And I'm sure, undoubtedly, now that I've made this public on my stream, everyone will be asking me and bugging me about it for the next 2 weeks. Oh, Phil, how's your hand feel? How's your hand feel? How's your hand feel? And I appreciate the concern, but it's not a big deal right now. Like I said, if this is something that lingers and doesn't get better, or if this is something that, like, continuously starts happening in other parts of my body, yeah, then that's a problem. And then I got to go see the doctor. But for now, no. Judging from my history and my experience with American healthcare, I'm not rushing to see a fucking doctor right now. It's not viable, it's not feasible, and it would be a waste of my fucking time regardless. So no, we'll see what happens, okay? So there you go. That was me waking up yesterday on my day off. Outside of that, yesterday wasn't a very bad day at all. Another more relaxing day where I spent a lot of time at home with Kat and Jasper. I had to run and do errands and the like. I actually got paid yesterday from YouTube, my monthly payment that I get once a month, which immediately more than half of it went straight to bills, and more is going to bills over the next couple of weeks. But with a little bit of money extra that I had, I was like, oh, go shopping and not have to worry too much about having to nickel and dime everything, right? So it was a nice day, having to go out and not worry about, I have to count my pennies to make sure that there's enough money in my bank account to afford the things I'm doing for the day. And we actually watched some more gameplay of Elden Ring, other people playing the game. And it was interesting because there were a few odds and ends in the game that I missed so far, like a few side quests / NPC quests that I didn't complete, and a few people that I was watching did complete. And the good news is I didn't really miss anything. The things that I missed were like unimportant for my build or anything like that. But it's very interesting to watch people play the same game you've already played, especially because these people are like behind me in what we're watching. And everyone plays this game differently. Everyone plays it differently. Some people followed the graces that they ran to, the points of grace, and literally went beginning of the game, Stormvale Castle, Limgrave, or teleported to Caelid, now I'm supposed to be here, and just played it like that, and basically played all the wrong order, and skipped 90% of, like, the items in the game. Which is hilarious. Then some people played it like they knew the order to play it already, somehow, and ended up doing all of Limgrave, then all of Liurnia, then went back and did all of Caelid until they ran into the Dragon Barrow and got their asses handed to them and realized, what the fuck, why is this so different? So it's kind of interesting how everyone plays the game differently. Although it's also interesting because a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people because it's not true. Some people right now, as I'm playing this game, are criticizing my playthrough of Elden Ring, saying things such as, Phil, you're over-leveled. Okay? Admittedly, when I first started playing, I beat the main area, and I kind of went to the castle early because people asked me to. I beat the castle, and then people were like, oh, you're not supposed to go to Liurnia. You got to go back to Limgrave and do all of Limgrave. And I was over-leveled for it because I'd already beaten the castle. Okay? Admittedly, that's exactly what happened. Then I ended up going to Liurnia, and I was about the level I was supposed to be for Liurnia. But because I had a weapon that was good, the Golden Halberd, and I had built my levels and my build towards using that halberd, I was kind of a glass cannon. And what I mean by that is I was hitting for crazy damage against all the enemies and the bosses, but man, they were also hitting me for crazy damage. So the boss fights were actually kind of suspenseful because it was like Phil's whooping their ass. Oops, he took a hit. Now he could die at any moment. You see? So it was good in that regard. I felt that it was actually like exciting. But at the same time, whenever there's a game, when I'm not constantly failing, these idiots will say dumb things like Phil over-leveled or grinded and he did it the wrong way. Completely wrong. I've been watching various people play, okay? One person is painstakingly taking their time to do everything in order, so everything's kind of the right level for them. Another person went way ahead and was actually taking on all of Caelid early. Then they backtracked and ended up doing the earlier stuff, and now they're like, shit, I guess it's not that fun because I kind of beat it, but that's kind of the pitfalls of an open world game. I mean, yeah, the game's meant to be played however you want, especially in a first run. There's no way to know what order you should be doing it or whatever. Luckily for me, I have you guys and your guidance and feedback to help me with my playthrough to kind of understand the intended order of the game. It sure would be great if FromSoft would have explained that better, which they did not do a good job of. But yeah, like, the funny part is, again, everyone who's kind of playing the game, and even the pro-level players who I've seen playing the game are saying, there's no right or wrong way to play the game. If you get under-leveled for an area, what are you going to do? If you're over-leveled, what are you going to do? It's not your fault. I'm not even kidding you. I saw 2 pro players playing this game at a very accelerated pace. They basically were playing this game, like, I'm not kidding, like 12 hours a day since the day it came out. So they beat the game within like a week. But their runs are boring. I mean it. Like, what they typically tend to do, they find one weapon that they like, they stick with that weapon and just play it for the rest of the game. They don't really mix it up. They're like, that's my weapon. I'm going to put every upgrade material into it. I'm going to have my build based off of it. And I'm just going to pound the fuck out of everything till the end of the game. Whether that be magic, whether that be a giant greatsword, whether that be a, you know what I mean? Whatever weapon it is that they select, this is my build for the run. And then once they're done with that run, okay, then they focus on, okay, my next run, I'd like to do something different. Whether it's, a skill-based run in this regard, or maybe I'm going to use all these Ashes of War this run, or maybe I'm going to do a level 1 run, or whatever it may be. So, what's funny about this is, I'm watching their playthroughs, and I'll be honest, they're boring. A lot of these guys are better than the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're actually so good that most of the time when they encounter a boss the first time, there's no difficulty. They could, I see the pattern. Dodge, dodge, hit, dodge, dodge, hit, dodge. Oh, beat him second try. Only reason I died the first try, because I only had one flask by the time I got to the boss, right? So that's what I mean, like, and by the way, here's another thing, too. Flavio in the stream chat says, jump R2, jump R2, jump R2 everything. That's how you play the game. I'm not, like, that's exactly how you play the game, unless you've beaten the game, and now you understand, like, a build, and you're going for something more specific or more refined. Literally, jumping attacks is how everyone is playing this fucking game at a high level. Without exception. The top players have figured out it's just jumping attacks. It staggers everything after 2-3 hits. Just do it, and that's the game. You know? So this is what's funny to me, because, again, these are the top guys. These are guys who, like, you know, first week the game was out, they were getting 50,000 views on streams on fucking Twitch. These were guys who were, like, are promoting the game, who are getting paid to make guides for the game and ongoingly cover the game in multiple runs. They got exclusive partnerships with FromSoft to make content on the game. And literally their playthroughs are nowhere near as exciting as someone who's not a top player, because there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, by the time they get to, say, the 4th area of the game, which I haven't seen yet, I didn't spoil myself, I just want to make that clear, they're already just pounding everything into submission with one hit. So, wow, how exciting, right? Like, wow, it's really just, you know, great to see you destroy every single enemy because you had one weapon, you didn't switch, you over-leveled it, and now you just destroy everything with jumping attacks. That's the game. And that's what, like, most of them have done. At least for their first runs. Again, I think what it is with the appeal of a game like this is it's going to be your second, your third, your fourth run that ends up being super exciting once you see the game mechanics and you understand how you can challenge yourself to do something different. The problem with that is the fucking game is over 100 hours long. I'm not just an Elden Ring content creator. So I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, I played the game one way the first run, then change it and do a second run immediately, a challenge run, and then another run and another run. When I beat Elden Ring, I'm not playing it again, at least immediately. I know some people have already expressed interest to see me go through the game and do alternate builds, like a magic build, which I'm not really doing. I'm doing more of a hybrid, strength and faith. Okay? So I'm thinking, maybe eventually I'd like to go back to a sorcery build. That sounds fun to me. But I'm fucking not doing it right after I beat the game after playing it for so long. Right now I'm 60 hours in and people are like, you're about halfway through. Oh, so this will be a 120-hour playthrough I'll probably finish in May. So that being said, what's funny to me is these idiots who sit here and criticize and yell at me. And like I said, I really have had my eyes opened for the first time, really watching along other people playing the same game that I'm playing while I'm playing it, to see how different their actual audience can be with their attitude towards them. Even though some people admittedly said that's kind of boring because you're steamrolling it, they're like, we understand because this is how the game is played. You know, you're going to go back later and do it a different way. To give you some perspective, think about my playthrough, okay? In my playthrough, number one, my health is underleveled. It is. My health is much lower than likely it should be at the point I'm at. So things are able to, like, 1 or 2 hit me in these harder areas. Number two, I'm using more than just one weapon and build. I'm using the Magma Worm Fire Flame Fuck Sword, whatever it's called, and that I'm using for standard gameplay for, like, you know, the dungeons and enemies and stuff, and I like its moveset, although admittedly it's not the best. I still think that it's fun and challenging. I'm using the Golden Halberd with holy damage for major boss fights. If I can't beat it with the Magma Sword, I switch over to the Halberd, which seems better, but I'm purposely not playing the entire game with the Halberd because admittedly it seems like it's a little bit too OP, right? And then I'm using Faith Magic. So that way we have variation. So I'm ranged, I got that. Up close, I got that. Fire, got that. Or if I want to switch to holy, got that. So you see what I'm saying? I've got all these variations in my gameplay style. The 2 other playthroughs that I've been watching of pro players are not doing that. They're literally doing one thing, over leveling it, and pounding the fuck out of the game the first playthrough. Not even fun, honestly. But I think it's more of like when you watch them, it's kind of like, okay, you're like studying the game. As opposed to watching me, it's like entertainment value. Like, I'm going to die a million times, and that's okay. Oh, by the way, they die a million times too, but there's no fucking death counter, and no one razzes them for dying a bunch on a certain boss. There's been certain bosses in this game that I steamrolled, and they had a hard time with. There's been bosses they steamrolled, but I had a crazy hard time with. Crucible Knight. So anyway, it's fun to see other people play the game like this, but at the same time, it opens my eyes to the criticisms and things that I've gotten. I'm like, they're not even valid. These are people who just want some specific level of perfect playthrough where they can sit here and deride me, and that's not what the game is fucking about. I'm having a good time playing it the way I am, and I hope you guys are enjoying the fact that I am doing variety. By the way, if I happen to find another weapon that looks cool and is for my build, then I will use it. If I find a strength, faith, a little bit of dex style weapon and I like it, I'm going to try it. It's just that right now I have 2 kind of go-to weapons that I'm alternating between that I'm really enjoying. Okay? Okay. So, Elden Ring continues today on the main gameplay stream. Alright? And I'm excited for that. So anyway, yesterday, to finish up my Phil's Day Off recap, I watched a lot of Elden Ring with my wife, and we relaxed. We had Mexican food for dinner. We each ordered a giant burrito of different styles. These are not typical burrito you're thinking of where you pick it up with 2 hands and eat it. These are like fork and knife burritos on a giant plate that you have to cut up and eat because they're so ginormous. I guess what you would call them is like smothered burritos or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but they were crazy good. And that was our day. Not too much to speak of outside of the numbness of my stupid hand. It was a pretty laid back day, and I was actually having a good time with it. I was like, wow, this is good. I needed that day to relax after this stressful week of playing Elden Ring every single day. All right, so Phil's Day Off, not super exciting. Okay, let's continue. What wet burrito? Is that what they're called? Wet burritos? Okay, that's probably what it is then. Wet burritos. Yes. Okay, let's talk about the schedule for this week, and this is going to get us into a major topic that I want to talk about today. Okay, today's streams. It's Elden Ring on the first stream, and we're going to be exploring the 3 optional side dungeons that I have now unlocked. One of them is the second half of the underground well in Sophria River, which I think it was called like Nokron, the Eternal City. We beat the first half. There's a whole other second half to do that I didn't do yet. There's also another underground well that we had been to originally when I went to it. If you remember, I fought these giant ants, and that was the Dragonkin boss that was under there. Well, this is the other half of that dungeon. I don't know what to expect, but apparently it's pretty crazy from what people are telling me. So there's another half of that dungeon. I don't even know exactly what it's called yet. And then on top of that, I'm now in the upside down, like, Kara study hall. If you remember, originally there was a tower that was outside of the academy. That there was a sorcerer that was a troll, and I couldn't kill the sorcerer because they kept teleporting away and running away and kind of sniping me with magic. And everyone basically told me there's really no reason to kill that sorcerer anyway because there's nothing in that tower right now. You have to complete a quest line. So I did complete the quest line. The tower flipped, and now I'm inside this tower, which apparently is a 3rd optional dungeon. So that's currently where I am right now, and likely that's where we'll pick up. Is we'll just go with that tower for now, and see how it goes, and go from there. So we've got 3 cool optional dungeons to check out. We'll start with 1, see how it goes, and continue on. I am well aware that at this point in the game, I could go to the 4th area of the game. I already unlocked a waypoint up there when I completed climbing through that giant mining tunnel with the magma worm at the end. And I think it's called the Atlas Plateau, and I think that's where I'm supposed to go next. So I know where I can go for the story, but obviously with 3 giant areas to go, I think I'd like to check those out first. So that's what we're going to be doing, okay? Now, later tonight, at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Horizon Forbidden West Endgame. And I have an update, okay, in regards to the Horizon playthrough. Apparently, I am about to finish the game. The next story mission in Horizon is the final mission in the game, and it's less than 2 hours long. It's essentially the conclusion of the game. So, as I was saying, last time I played a couple days ago, there's a little bit of side content left in the game that I feel like I'd like to do. There's a side mission for the character Alva, who's a major story character that I'd like to do. I'd like to maybe see what missions I could do now that I can fly in the game. I know there's at least 1 or 2 missions you can do by flying around, so maybe I'll check those out. Tonight will likely be side content / exploration, all right? And go from there. And then we'll finish the game. Will we do that all tonight? Likely no. I have 2 streams scheduled this week for Horizon, tonight and also Thursday night. So likely tonight will be, let's do some exploration, let's do some side content, let's mess around with the flying, and then I'll finish the game story-wise on Thursday night and wrap it up. Okay? Cool. Tomorrow will be more Elden Ring, and that'll be paired with a late-night chill stream of Skyrim After Dark. Thursday will be more Elden Ring, and it'll be paired with the conclusion of Horizon, as I just stated. Okay. Now, it's time to talk about Friday, my friends. So, on Friday, there's 2 new release games coming out that I'm interested in. One is called Ghostwire Tokyo, and the other is called Kirby and the Forgotten Land. From all reports, Kirby seems like a pretty interesting game, although I know most people probably won't review it extremely well. I like Kirby games. I've not played one in many, many years, and once I beat Horizon, I'll actually be looking for another game to play on late nights for variety and chill gaming purposes. I think Kirby is the perfect game to slip into that spot for about a week or 2, depending on how long it is, okay? So, that's kind of a given. But the other game is Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, this is a game that I followed for a few years. It's the next game from Shinji Mikami, the maker of some of the big Resident Evil games from over the years. In particular, a lot of people like his Resident Evil 4, as well as Evil Within 1 and 2, and everyone's been waiting for this new project from him. Looks unique. It's first-person, action-based horror. You're walking through modern Tokyo, but ghosts are appearing out of nowhere, and you have to fight them with this crazy kind of hand-to-hand combat that uses magic and stuff, and it looks unique. It absolutely does look like something unique and different. And I'm actually excited. Like I say, I was excited, because now the early reviews have come out as of yesterday, okay? And although opinion definitely seems to be mixed on the game, you know, I'm getting tired of this. I am. I'm getting tired of this. You say, what is Phil getting tired of? I'm getting tired of having a game look like one thing and turn out to be something completely different. They call it bait and switch, okay? And this game looked to me on paper, and even the visuals that we had seen up to now, that this was going to be something different. Like, oh my god, I've been playing Elden Ring and other open world style games for a month. Let me now do something different and interesting and engaging and fun. This will be great for variety for the streams. I can alternate between Ghostwire and Elden Ring. It'll be a different kind of content. Maybe people who are turned off by Elden Ring will finally come back to watch me play a different game. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to very briefly outline some of the things being said about Ghostwire Tokyo, and I will say this, shout out to Swaggins. He actually posted up some information for me about the game for me to review and go over. You ready? Let's see. Here's some of the information. In fact, I'm going to read this one. Based on reviews, the major criticisms of Ghostwire Tokyo, the game is bland, an uninteresting story, bad controls, the map is littered with icons. Every single event in the world, you just hold down a button to do. Combat is repetitive, but actually walking around the world, exploring, is decently interesting. There's some out-of-place RPG mechanics in the game, like you eat food, And also, you can change your clothes, but you never see them because it's a first-person game, and the cutscenes are rare. So what's the point? You never see them, right? The game also has a skill tree, which is weird because it doesn't play like an RPG, but has an RPG skill tree. It's basically a walking simulator with the occasional platforming challenge and some repetitive action. Every once in a while, there's a cool story mission. Okay? And here's another one. Listen to this. And this is directly from someone's review, and I apologize because I don't know actually who it is, but it's a quote taken from someone's review. Okay? Though Ghostwire Tokyo may be metaphorically in line with a typical first-person shooter, it doesn't feel much like one. The controls feel sluggish and swimmy to an extent that I swapped controllers because I thought something must have been malfunctioning. Jacking the camera acceleration and deceleration to the max helps. I guess there's a setting for that. But it's no silver bullet. And everyone apparently is saying the same thing, that the game feels like you're playing in slow motion or underwater. And therefore, it doesn't feel like a great gaming experience because you're like, what the fuck? Why does it play like that? So, I'm looking at a game that looks unique and interesting and original. And what people reviewing it are saying is, it is for like 4 hours. And then you realize the entire game is exactly the same thing. It's a walking simulator with added combat that's delayed and not responsive and kind of annoying. It's also incredibly repetitive after the first few hours when I guess you've seen all the enemy types. And every once in a while there's a unique setting or unique puzzle that's cool, but you're going to be bored in between all of that. So just to recap, I've been playing open world exploration games for a month that if you're not into them, you'd think they're incredibly boring because I've been playing them for a month and you want to see something fresh and different. And I'm about to jump into a game that feels boring and repetitive after 4 hours. You see? So now I don't know what I'm going to do. Let me tell you this. I really do feel that I probably initially will be intrigued no matter what. It seems like that kind of game, like the visual style alone for Ghostwire, looks really unique and interesting. And I think that just our initial reactions to what's going on in the game for the first stream or two may be good. But what if it becomes the same exact situation as Dying Light 2 or whatever, where it's just like, okay, we've seen everything the game is in like the first few hours, and now who wants to see it after like 2 streams? You know what I'm saying? Number one, do I want to drop the money on a game like that, where I'm going to buy it and play it twice and be bored? And number two, do we want to take the risk of that? Here's the thing. I'm in a unique situation right now, where I've already been avoiding games because I've been in the midst of such long playthroughs. Just between Elden Ring and Horizon, it's taken up most of my March to this point. Today's the 22nd of March, 3 weeks into the month, right? And I haven't played anything new because I've been tackling some of the longest games that I've played in a very long time. What have I missed? Well, I didn't play Martha is Dead, a horror game. I didn't play WWE 2K22, a pro wrestling game, the first of its kind in a year and a half. A game that a lot of people have said, not only do they want me to see to do the showcase mode, but they're interested in maybe seeing me do like a simulated career. And of course, once enough community creations are created, to do my traditional simulation fantasy matches, which people love to see me do commentary over. Excuse me. I skipped Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy. Although, admittedly, out of the games that I'm mentioning now, may probably be the least unique one and one that I likely would skip anyway, because it does seem like it has so many borrowed elements from FromSoft games, and quite frankly, not many people are praising the game more than just saying, yeah, it's okay. So, I already skipped a bunch of games. Oh, yeah, I was playing Dying Light 2 in February, and the game has been on hiatus for over a month, and I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to it. So already I have these options sitting around, right? And it's kind of like, so what should I do now? Now knowing that Ghostwire Tokyo essentially is not a great game, it'll be good for a bit and then get boring. Do I still play it? Or do I say, meh, all right, instead, let's go do this game that you guys wanted to see me do and I skipped? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure at all how to handle this situation. I thought that we were in a situation where this would be straightforward to figure out. It'll be me playing Ghostwire and Elden Ring. Then it'll be me basically playing, what do you call it? What do you call it? It'll be me playing, why am I having a brain fart? Oh, the next Lego game. That's right. I was trying to think, what's the next game? Sorry, my phone keeps distracting me this morning. Yeah, Lego game, right? There's a Lego game coming out, Lego Star Wars Trilogy or whatever, and it actually seems completely different from all the other Lego games that have ever come out. It's actually like narrative-based rather than just a collectathon. It seems very different, and I'm actually very interested in playing that. I mean, I haven't played a Star Wars game in how long, and you know, the Lego games are kind of silly fun, and it seems like this is a very unique one to check out. So, yeah, that's the next game I'm playing. After that, there's not much going on, and it's kind of like, so what do I do? What do I play? I honestly have no clue what to tell you guys at this point. You know, we went from having a clear-cut path to, like, I'm completely uncertain. Now, here's the funny part. Some people live 10 years in the fucking past and still think that I am the dark side Phil who only made on-demand video content for YouTube. Really, they think that. Because they say things like, Phil, why are you listening to other people's reviews? You always used to say don't do that, and you used to play every game and cover every single game for yourself and do your own honest reviews, and we liked that about you. Yes, that was 10 years ago. You're right. In the modern day, I'm a full-time streamer. I have limited time to play the games that I'm playing, and by the way, if you haven't noticed, recently games are insanely fucking long compared to the games I used to play. The longest game that I ever played back in the day was Skyrim. Then it was Persona 5. These games today, like, I'm playing right now games that are 100 hours long. Typically games, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? And back then, it was very different. Most games back in the day could be beaten within, like, 20 hours, if that. Like, a lot were 10 to 15 hours long. So, yeah, the old Phil would not read a review because he wasn't streaming and didn't have to have a streaming schedule to tell you guys what he'd be playing. He would just buy the game, play through it quick within 2-3 days, done, slap an entire playthrough and a review on the internet, on to the next. Those playthroughs were sloppy. Those playthroughs were rushed, skipped a ton of content. Even though I feel the reviews to this day are still quite good, a lot of them definitely didn't give an accurate representation of if you had played the entire game as opposed to just rushing through the main story, which is exactly what I used to do back in the day. And again, it was a different era where games were so short that that made sense, okay? Today, just in 1 month, right? Think about this. Sifu, Dying Light 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Martha is Dead, Elden Ring, Gran Turismo 7, WWE 2K22. How the fuck do I play all those games? I don't. The answer is I just don't. Even streaming 5 or more hours of gameplay a day, there's no way I can beat all those games in a month. So I have to pick and choose what I'm going to play. And when that happens, you get backlogged or you have to skip stuff, right? So it's not as simple as people like to say, oh, just play everything, or why are you listening to reviewers? Because if I don't listen to reviewers, okay, how do I know what to play and what's going to be viable for my business and my streams? I'm a dual kind of guy here in what I attempt to do on the internet. On the one hand, I'm trying to entertain myself by playing a game, giving you my honest reactions to said game. So kind of like when you watch me play a game, it's like, what happens if an average guy who plays a game, who has no exposure to said game, plays it for the first time? How would they enjoy it? What would they think about it? And a lot of people value my insights and my commentary on gaming because they feel like that's an honest guy's reaction to what that game is, and they can trust it to judge off of that if it's something they'd be interested in. On the flip side of that, I'm an entertainer. I have to make sure that the content I'm putting out is something that's going to engage and entertain an audience, or else what am I doing here, right? I can't just sit here and play boring shit constantly, even though admittedly I like doing things called chill streams, where it's not necessarily giant amounts of engaging gameplay. Instead, it could be me playing a game that's a little bit less exciting, but we interact and we have fun and we talk during that playthrough, and it makes it more engaging because we have interactions, and that's kind of the attraction rather than just to focus on the game. Skyrim is the perfect example of that, right? But, that being said, in the modern day, I don't have unlimited resources. I don't have unlimited time. That's really my problem. If I had unlimited time to stream if I had a clone of myself to play all these insanely long games that are out, and if I had unlimited money to spend on these games, then it wouldn't be an issue. But that's not the case. In 2022, the gameplay landscape is dramatically different than how it used to be. It's not every game's 10 to 12 hours long. You could beat it in 2-3 sittings. And, you know, I'm making so much money on ad revenue on YouTube that I could just play 5 new games in 2 weeks. And on top of all of that, I'm a live streamer now where I have to schedule it in. It's not like I can just play offline and upload in a marathon. It's about scheduling those streams, you see? So all that being said, okay, I just don't have the answers anymore. You know what I mean? And sometimes having to take in a consensus of reviews, like for example, what's going on right now with Ghostwire Tokyo. I'm trying to take in a bunch of information from a bunch of different people about said game and use that to formulate an educated opinion on, is this a game that I would be interested in and my viewership would be interested in? Okay? And I really don't know what else to do about that. You know what I mean? At this point, I don't have the answers. I wish I did. I really do wish I did. I don't. So, what do I do? Do we just say fuck it and play Ghostwire on Friday regardless and chance that within 1 to 2 streams we're all bored of the game because it's ridiculously repetitive? Or do I play something else? Maybe I play WWE, which people have wanted to see me play ever since early March when it came out and I skipped it for now. Or do I continue on with an ongoing playthrough like Dying Light 2 that's been on hiatus for like a month? I don't have the answers. I need feedback. Basically, this whole segment, the whole point I'm making with you is that I need feedback. Okay? I need to know. What's hilarious is Lice for Soul says, play WWE 2K22. It has an amazing soundtrack. I can't play the music. It's licensed music, dude. The whole channel would get flagged. All the videos would be muted if it's licensed music. I gotta turn it off. Trust me, with the debacle we had with Grand Theft Auto and everything, I have to have the music off in that playthrough. You realize that, right? So anyway, I think what we need to do is we have 3 days to figure this out. Okay? We do. We have 3 days to talk and figure this out. And here's the options I feel. Here's the most viable options. Just go ahead and play Ghostwire the way I was intending originally. And say, fuck it, hope for the best. Hopefully it's not a game that gets boring in 2 streams. It's not a waste of money. Or go back to something previously that I have on hiatus, maybe like Dying Light 2 or maybe a Game Pass playthrough, which we have tons of that have been on, you know, really not investigated as full playthroughs. Or play WWE. Like, those are the 3 options I'm seeing right now as viable. Then there's the 4th option. Fuck it all and just keep playing Elden Ring as the main game for a bit until Lego Star Wars comes out. And then it'll be Elden Ring and Lego Star Wars, right? But now I'm really pushing it because I've been playing Elden Ring as the mainstream for how many weeks already? And what's going to happen when Elden Ring ends? Yeah, I have an audience right now for Elden Ring, and people love it, and people are tuning in and supporting the streams and everything, and I really appreciate that. But what happens when I finally finish Elden Ring, and if all I've been doing has been playing Elden Ring, and so many people came to the channel and subscribed to watch Elden Ring, and then Elden Ring ends, it's like, well, dude, you've been a one-trick pony for a month and a half. Now Elden Ring's over. We're out of here. You see? I kind of need to at least maintain the idea that I'm a variety streamer. And that hasn't really happened in the last 2 to 3 weeks, right? It just hasn't. I've been playing the same amount of games because I need to get through them. They're so lengthy. So, what to do? Some people are suggesting Tunic, which, if I'm to understand what Tunic is, it's like a combination of Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, but with very challenging gameplay. And it's a Game Pass game, by the way. Yeah. So, I don't know. I need feedback. We have 3 days to figure this out. We have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. My schedule is set for the next 3 days. It's Elden Ring, paired with Horizon, Skyrim, Horizon, and the end of Horizon. Alright? So, we got 3 days. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. And then on Friday, what to do. That's basically the challenge here that we need to overcome, is what do I do on Friday? And I'm all ears. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to take in your opinions, you know? Very well, what's probably going to happen is some people are going to be like, Phil, if you play this particular game, I would like it. I'll support it. yada yada, and other people will be like, well, actually, no, then don't do that game, do this game. And I don't think this is a situation, because Ghostwire sadly is not seemingly living up to most people's expectations, that there isn't a clear-cut, correct, right or wrong answer. It's going to be one of those situations where no matter what I do, some of the people are going to be happy and some of the people are going to be upset and sad, because I can't please everybody all the time. And I know that as a content creator, as a person, I know that I can't do that, okay? So I'm going to think about it over the next few days, and I certainly hope I can get your opinions, all right? And it's funny because some people say, just do a poll. It's not that simple. It's not as simple as do a poll and just have people vote, and that's the concrete answer you go by. In fact, that's a lot of the reasons why these days I usually don't do polls, because then people try to skew the poll or cheat the system to make it say something that, and then, oh, well, that's what everyone wants, but it's not really necessarily true. What I like to do is talk about this now and try to get your opinions. I'm going to be mentioning this on all of my streams for the next 3 days, so that way I can get everyone's varied opinions on what I should be doing on Friday. And again, some of the ideas, Ghostwire Tokyo, just do it anyway. Resume an old playthrough, such as Dying Light 2, or maybe a Game Pass game that I played and you want to see more of. Play WWE 2K22, which people wanted to see me play a few weeks ago and I didn't. Or maybe do something new like Tunic. Or say, fuck it, just keep playing Elden Ring every day and getting further and further until the next new game comes out, which is actually Lego Star Wars in early April. Okay? Those are kind of our options. So, there you go. So I'm already getting tons of opinions. Some people are saying, I'd like to see WWE 2K22. In fact, Jade says, Ghostwire Tokyo looks cool, but WWE would be more fun for me and maybe the chat as well. I don't know. Haseo says, no matter what you choose to play, I'll still come to streams to enjoy the content with my fellow chat folks. There you go. That's the thing, too, and I really appreciate that. I know that no matter what I choose, some people will just come by and chill with me anyway. And that's what it's all about. We've built a community here where people enjoy everything. It doesn't matter if we're playing a great game or a bad game. It doesn't matter if we're playing an action-packed game or a more chill game. People just seem to come by and enjoy it. There's that community of people, and I really do appreciate that base community of people who are here to have a good time. Thank you for that. Really, thank you so much, because without you as the core of what I do, I still wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? There's plenty of downtime when there's nothing really going on. And the fact that people still come by to chill with me is awesome. January was a month with 0 new releases, and we had a ton of fun because I was playing Skyrim and Resident Evil 4 and other stuff. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, let's see what happens, okay? Let's see what happens. Let's play it by ear. Let's take your feedback for 3 days. Please, please give me your feedback. If you're watching this podcast right now on demand on YouTube and you don't watch the live streams, I need your feedback. Desperately give it to me. Please comment on this video and say, Phil, here's what I think you should do starting Friday. Give me that level of feedback. I will weigh and balance what everyone has to say and ultimately come to a decision within the next few days. And the more feedback I get, the better off, okay? Sound good? See, that's true too. So Jeff says, he's talking about my whole wrist thing. It's not wrist thing, it's the top of my hand that's numb. He says, most likely it's either carpal tunnel or in general, the pinched nerve in the wrist, being that it's just the top of my hand localized. You're right. And sometimes what I find is when I wake up in the morning, I've been like sleeping on my hand. I'm like, oh, shit. So that could have been what happened. Like I slipped on my hand and just pinched a nerve very badly. And now that nerve, numbed my hand because of it, and it's going to take a while to, like, unnumb. You know what I mean? Like, the nerve is still kind of screwed up. I don't know. I know that's completely off topic from what we're talking about. So, we got Big Papa Phil says, just play Ghostwire because reviews aren't everything. Deadly Premonition was a very fun playthrough, but no one would have nominated that for Game of the Year. And you're right. So, I don't know. And by the way, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is off the table. I have zero desire to play a Borderlands-like game, a grind. Those games are great. You're playing with a group of people or friends, camaraderie, team-based looter shooter. Playing those solo, they don't work. Borderlands 1 didn't really work as a solo playthrough. Borderlands 3 wasn't a very appealing solo playthrough. I'm not playing Tiny Tina, okay? Okay. Okay, so that's the deal. Please give me your feedback, because the schedule this week is completely uncertain. I am streaming for 7 straight days this week, okay? Starting today, it's 7 straight streaming days. Right, today all the way through Monday. But the question is, what am I playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday? I don't know yet. Okay. Okay, one other thing. Not this week, but the week directly after, meaning it would be the very tail end of March into early April. I have to take off some night streams. Why? I have to do my taxes. It's a thing you have to do here once a year, especially when you're a business owner. You have to do taxes with the feds. You have to put together a ridiculous amount of information, and I've kind of not necessarily procrastinated because I have a lot of the information already. I just haven't sat down to centralize and put it into the spreadsheet / files I need to send to my tax guy and get it done. So, yeah, I need to do it. And time's running out, and I need to take some streams away to do this. So just to let you guys know, it will happen, and I'm not going to be able to stream a few times. Night streams. Day streams will not be affected. Excuse me. It'll just be night streams. And it'll be probably a 2 to 3, I'm thinking. Because if I take off night streams, that's at least 2-3 hours a night that I could do it. And yes, it takes that long to do this shit. And this year in particular, it's going to be even more annoying because I don't have a centralized place to get all my information because of the identity theft I had last year. It's a major pain in my ass. Okay. So that being said, I just want you guys to know that way ahead of time. Not that all of a sudden it's a shocking thing that Phil's not doing night streams for several days. What's going on? I want you to know up front what's happening, so that way it's not a shock that Phil's not here for a few days, okay? The good news is, that first week of April is my birthday celebration week. We do this every year. I decorate the office. We have fun little things, festivities going on, like streamers and balloons. And if I get a big, like, contribution, usually I blow a horn. And this year, what I think I'd like to do is a special birthday celebration event. What will it be? I don't know yet. We're still couple weeks, like 2.5 weeks away from it. It's April 6th would be my birthday. I don't even know if the event would actually be on my birthday or like right before it, but I'm thinking of doing something special. Maybe it's a marathon or something. I don't know. I'll let you know as we get closer to it. But yeah, I definitely want to do some fun stuff. All right. For that week, and in particular, a special celebration for that big kind of milestone birthday. Where I'm sure everyone will make fun of me for getting old and say I'm over the hill and that I'm going to die within the next year. It's crazy stuff like that. You know, people like to do dark humor. We'll see what happens, all right? I'll try to think more about it as we get closer to it, all right? We'll see. All right. Oh, let's just say I have a few ideas. Let's just say I have a few interesting ideas. All right. Let's get to the news stories that I want to talk about today, because we got 3 different news stories outside of the whole Ghostwire deal. First of all, CD Projekt Red has come out and announced that they are working on a new Witcher game. Now, they're not calling it Witcher 4. They haven't announced what platforms the game will be on. The only information that they've announced is that they're working on a new Witcher game, and it's not going to be running on their proprietary graphical engine for which they created Cyberpunk 2077 in. It's going to be running on Unreal Engine 5. Okay? First of all, I was under the impression they were done with Witcher. Like, when Witcher 3 came out, didn't they say this is it? And we're moving on to other things? I swear that was a conversation at some point. And so the fact that now they're going back to Witcher seems to me like they realized that Witcher was their cash cow and Witcher is what everyone likes out of them. And that Cyberpunk, you know, is not it. And I hate to say it, I just find the Witcher universe way more engaging of a universe than Cyberpunk. I personally hate the whole Cyberpunk universe. I think it's incredibly stupid, immature. The joke of, oh, in the future, everyone's a robot and everyone just talks about sex and drugs and all these bad illicit things constantly. That joke wears itself out within an hour, you know? And then it's like, oh, look, another stupid billboard of dumb shit that I don't care about because I've seen it a million times in this game. It's not funny. As opposed to Witcher, which is a really immersive, interesting fantasy universe. Everything in Witcher is kind of interesting, although admittedly, yes, CD Projekt Red still interjects some ridiculous stuff in it. It's still great. I really liked Witcher 3. It's one of my favorite RPGs that I've ever played as a content creator on the internet with you guys. And I'm excited to hear that they're making another Witcher game. If you want my opinion, this is what they should be doing. You know what you're good at. Stick to it. Make another great game. fuck these other bullshit universes where essentially you were trying to cash in on the Grand Theft Auto players, because it's exactly what Cyberpunk was. It was their attempt to make a game in the vein of Witcher with the same amount of content and questing, but basically it's Grand Theft Auto, so now you appeal to a whole new audience of people who never played Witcher. You think it's going to be like a ginormous hit, and it ended up being the worst game ever. It really did. It was so bad. So I'm excited for this because I like Witcher. Like, Witcher 3 was definitely an amazing game, and if they're going to go back to that, to making great games like that again, good. But again, it's kind of funny. Now it's not running on their engine anymore. So literally, they're kind of admitting, we made a graphics engine that's a piece of shit. It's way too hard to work with. It caused so many issues with Cyberpunk. We don't even want to deal with it or try to fix it. Fuck that. We're just going to fucking use what everyone else uses. They're throwing in the towel on their own graphical engine that they made. You know? So, if anything, I'm happy about this. And you know what? Haseo made a good point. He says, if anything, maybe it was this Netflix Witcher series, and it brought back so many sales of Witcher 3 and so much interest in Witcher, it makes sense for them to make another Witcher game. Yeah, I would actually completely agree with that. Since the Witcher series is so popular on Netflix, why would you not want to go along with that? Just like, it baffles me that the Sonic movie, and now the sequel is coming out, and we still don't have a new Sonic game. Now, there is one in the works. There's supposed to be a new Sonic game coming out this year, but it's like, you're supposed to strike when the iron is hot. That's the saying, right? You don't strike when the iron is cooled down, and now you strike, it does nothing. You know? Kind of like Avengers. You know, when Avengers was the hottest fucking movie property, and you had Endgame, and you had everything going on, and then they released a game like 2 years later, and no one cared about it. The fuck were you thinking, stupid? You gotta strike when the iron is hot. So, yeah, everyone's talking about Witcher. Everyone likes the series. Make a new Witcher game. There you go. Okay, that's it. We have no other information about it. It's just very preliminary information. Another announcement. Haven Studios is a game company headed by Jade Raymond, who apparently is an industry veteran who made a bunch of games for other companies. I don't even know what they are, but for some reason this is a big news because apparently this studio that was an indie studio was just fully purchased by Sony, or is in the process of being fully purchased by Sony. They're currently working on a AAA games as a service game. Games as a service game. That's original. You know, like Fortnite, Apex Legends, Outriders, Destiny 2, any of these fucking Tom Clancy Division games, multiple MMOs. Gee, let's see. Do I really need to keep going, or do you understand what I'm getting at here? That games as a service games have become so prominent in the last several, like 4 to 5 years. Do we really need another games as a service game that's fucking coming out from a major AAA studio? Like, have we not seen enough of these? Or do we not understand that at this point, maybe the whole gaming landscape is kind of oversaturated with them, and maybe their time in the sun is over? You know what I'm saying? Like, at one point, okay, games as a service made sense, but now it's like every game wants to be a games as a service game so they can keep nickel and diming the customer. When you tell me that a studio for a bunch of devs that used to make good games is now making a games as a service game, I say, so that's something I'm skipping. Like, literally, it's like, oh, so that's not news for me today. Good. On to the next story. But everyone in the gaming media seems to be talking about this, simply because I guess this studio had high hopes. Like, everyone had high hopes the games they would make would be great. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very, very skeptical about this. Sony apparently is not. Sony apparently saw what the studio was working on and was so pleased they chose to purchase the studio. I don't know what the big deal is about the story, quite frankly. It would be one thing if we knew the game, we saw footage of it, it looks groundbreaking and amazing, and we're all, oh my god, can't wait for that game. Oh, Sony's buying them out. Whoa, that's a good announcement. But we don't even know shit about the game, so why do we care, right? Alrighty then. The last real news story I have to talk about today, and then we'll get to shoutouts. There's a new Ghostbusters game coming out. Yeah, it's a new Ghostbusters game. Now, this is an interesting take, okay? So if you remember, many years ago, there was a Ghostbusters official video game. You played as a recruit to the Ghostbusters team, and you teamed up with the actual actors. Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson. They were all in the game. And basically, it was like Ghostbusters 3. Like, if you actually looked at the plot lines of the first two movies, this game was essentially Ghostbusters 3. At the time, it was ginormous fan service. It was so fun. I loved the game, even though it had a lot of shortcomings, okay? But it was still a great game. Since then, there have been 0 good Ghostbusters games. There was an attempt once or twice to cash in on movie releases and the like, and they've all been terrible. This new game coming out later this year is a unique take because it's a 4v1 multiplayer game. You either play as a Ghostbuster or you play as the Ghost. And I guess the way the game is going to play is the person as the Ghost sets up the level. So you can have traps, you can have minion ghosts that you set up. And then what you're trying to do is, I guess, either slime the Ghostbusters or escape. While as the Ghostbusters, obviously your goal is to survive and catch the boss ghost being controlled by a human. We've seen this before. You know, what's the name of the game? It's slipping my mind. What's the name of the game? You play as a horror monster and you take on 4 survivors and they try to survive and do things in the stage while you're trying to kill them. God, how am I having a brain fart? It's not Dying Light. It's not Until Dawn. Dead by Daylight. It's a combination of Dead by Daylight. It's basically Dead by Daylight with Ghostbusters, okay? Interesting premise. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a fan of Ghostbusters. This actually appeals to me. I don't know about longevity. Maybe this would be something that would be really fun to play for like a week and then you get bored of it. I don't know. But admittedly, I'm very interested in it. By the way, this game is from the makers of the Friday 13th game, which was a ripoff of Dead by Daylight. So you can expect hilarious bugs at launch just like that game. Anyway. I'm interested in this. I am. Hopefully we'll get more information about it by the end of the year. And this is a game that I'd probably like to give a go. Although admittedly, after playing it a few times again, I don't know about longevity. But it certainly seems like something for initial interest. It'll be pretty cool to play as, you know, Ghostbusters versus Ghost and setup and everything. Kind of like Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight. Sounds interesting to me. Someone else had mentioned one final news story. I will mention this. Fortnite just launched a new mode / season. In this season, there's no building. No building. So I want you to think about this. The one thing that actually made Fortnite unique from other Battle Royale style games was building. Yes, you can argue that over the years, the cartoony graphics, the amount of customization, the craziness of the ongoing world changing and the maps changing and everything, and all the insane amount of fucking product placement tie-ins and fucking, you know, licensing deals they've had with every fucking IP and franchise out the ass, that could be part of the uniqueness of Fortnite. But Fortnite taking away the building aspect essentially makes it a third-person shooter battle royale game, which is been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like the building aspect of the game. That's why after I played it several times, you know, over the 2 years launch of it, I didn't like it and I never went back to it. But now it's kind of like, okay, so now you're really showing that essentially you never had anything special about your game to begin with besides the building when you strip the building from it and it feels like every other game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because people are playing it now and there's people who are like, wow, I never really liked Fortnite because of the building. I just played it and I won immediately. Oh, well, you want to know why you won? Because only fucking kids play it. No competent adult is still fucking playing that game. Even the content creators who were playing that game constantly for money and views from kids dropped that shit and went on to do other things, right? So this is not shocking that now people have dropped the building bullshit in the game and you can jump in, and even if you have like just a cursory experience playing multiplayer third-person shooter games, that you can win. It's not shocking. I won back in the day, and I am not good at this, and I didn't build a damn thing. Anyway, I guess this is news. I don't know why people still talk about Fortnite. I'll be honest, like, it really has become the kids' game. I don't know anyone else who regularly talks about this game but parents and talk about how their kids play it. Seriously, like, it's a non-entity, even though it's still big business and tons of people play it. It's mostly children, and I don't know why this is still news to us. I don't care. But people were talking about it in the chat. Well, apparently wanted me to mention it. So, great. Okay, let's get to shoutouts. We will start off with YouTube side shoutouts this morning. We start off with Go Team Venture, who re-upped his membership for 2 months. Thank you, Go Team Venture. B-Boy Cyclone re-upped his membership for 11 months. Has played Stranger of Paradise. Much love. So that's his take on what I should play this week. Kevin Bernstein re-upped his membership for 7 months. Says, don't play with your health. You need to be healthy. He's right. The Orange Ninja Turtle did a super chat and says, generally, every person in every position at every level is incompetent. Okay. Interesting opinion. Fruits07 has been a member for 5 months. Thank you for re-upping your membership. He says, I believe GTA 5 E&E is that expanded and extracted and milked? I think that's what it is. It means milked. Is $10 on PlayStation Store and Xbox? Okay, I really don't care. Jamie Green has upped his membership for 5 months. Says, Phil, hope you're doing good. Thank you, Jamie. I am. Except for the numbness in my hand, which hopefully goes away. Big Daddy Dubs did a super chat, and he says, could you play Tunic? It's on Game Pass, and we talked a little bit about that. Thank you to Big Daddy Dubs. And Kyle Cross just did a super chat and says, having done law enforcement before, sitting for long terms can cause symptoms that you're describing. So try stretching, yoga, or DDP yoga, holistic medicine for the win. I'm sure I'm going to be getting a ridiculous amount of suggestions over the next couple of weeks, like I said, of people saying things. And we'll see, like I said, we'll see what happens. Right now, it's certainly not anything to be too worried about. At the same time, I do appreciate everyone's concern. Now let's swing over to the tip side of things. Okay. Oh, my nose itches. Lucifer Soul was our first tipper today. $4.20 tip. And he says, have you given the Glintstone Academy key to the mage at the beginning of Liurnia after the Godric fight? No. Funny enough, people might have no idea what he's talking about, because if you're watching my playthrough, you'd be like, what is he talking about? So when I first got to Liurnia in Elden Ring, there's a mage who's sitting at a church, and he says he wants to get back into Liurnia, but he got locked out, and he doesn't have a key to open the force field. Okay? When I was in the academy, there was an item in the chandeliers that I didn't get, and I was like, shit, I'd have to backtrack and redo all that fucking platforming again to get it, to which people were like, nah, don't worry about it, it's just for a questline for sorcery stuff that you don't care about. Later on, as I told you guys, I was watching some other people play the game, and as they did the academy, some of them grabbed the key, gave it to the guy, and people were absolutely correct. There's no reason for me to go back and do it, because all that happens, spoiler alert, it's not a big spoiler, by the way, the guy dies. You know, like every fucking NPC ever in a FromSoft game, the guy ends up going back to the academy and getting killed. You find his body, and all you find on him is like a spell, and I think it's a bell to buy crafting materials and sorceries. It's not a big deal. It's if you're a sorcerer, it's great. Outside of that, you'll never care. So it's a quest line that I really don't need to finish. Thank you, Lice for Soul, for the first tip of the day. Leviathan has tipped me $5, and it looks like so far this is the biggest tip of the day. So let's get him up on the leaderboard. See what he has to say. How are you doing, my guy? I'm wondering what's your opinion on Soulsborne elitism, especially on YouTube. Your opinion is greatly valued. I've already talked about this a million times, that Soulsborne elitism is absolutely ridiculous, because Soulsborne games are not competitive. They're not multiplayer. It's one thing if you want to be an elitist about how a game should be played in a competitive aspect. No one is competing when they're just simply playing a Soulsborne game. If you're someone who puts yourself out there as a content creator and you're saying, listen, I'm trying to prove that I'm the best speedrunner, I'm the best build master of this or that, that's one thing. But if you're just playing the game at face value and trying to have fun, okay, that's stupid. Why are you going to gatekeep and tell people they can't play a game and enjoy it the way that they want to enjoy it, right? So that being said, it's dumb. I've talked about it at length before. I'm not going to talk about it at length this morning because we've already had this conversation many, many times. I appreciate the tip, Leviathan. Chonkla tipped me $1.50 asking if the stream is pre-recorded. Yes. If you're not aware, what happens, here's what I do. I travel forward in time in a time machine. Okay? About a week. I do the streams in the future. But I record them. Then I go back in time to my original time period. And I play the videos live to coincide with what's happening. Stupid question. Stinky Penne Penis did a $3 tip and says, go DSP. Thank you so much. The most original name ever. Really exciting. Lizaversol, excuse me. Lizaversol, to me, $4.20. It says, use the finger thingy so I can invade your world and spread your cheeks. That's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. No. Then Lizaversol did another $4.20 tip and says, when you get to your midlife crisis and you start to think about getting a tattoo, will your first tattoo be an eagle on the side of your neck? Well, no. Is that a reference to somebody? Perhaps that's a direct reference to someone. I wouldn't know. So we're at $21 in tips right now. I would know, but no. I would not get an eagle on my neck. Jeff tipped me $1.99 and says, this is a poem. Read it artistically. DSP, Philip, Philly B. Love chat interaction reactions DSP. It actually rhymed. I didn't expect it to rhyme. I thought it was going to be more like one of those beatnik poems where they just say random stuff. Like it would be DSP, Philip, Philly B. But it's not. It actually rhymed. So thank you for that. Okay. Lord Shielgaroth did a super chat and says, I'm sorry. All right, Lord Shielgaroth, just chill the fuck out. It's that simple. What some people don't seem to understand is that, especially when you're someone like me who has a lot of people who interact with them on a daily basis, has a lot of people who ask things of them on a daily basis, I can't necessarily give the one-to-one interactions that a lot of people desire. A lot of people will send me an email or try to tag me in chat a million times. And if I don't immediately answer them or if I don't immediately give them the satisfaction that they're looking for, all of a sudden it's some kind of a personal affront or assault on them. It's not. It's just that I'm one man and you are many, right? Right now there's over 400 people on this stream and I am one. Just one. Actually, I'm barely one. I'm like half of one half the time, right? My brain is half empty. So to say, oh, you're ignoring me, or why is I'm not getting a direct response, or why am I not getting exactly the answer that I want right away, likely has nothing to do with you. It has to do with me, and that's cool. But what I will tell you is this, and this is a word of a rule of thumb to follow when it comes to me. Right? In general, the more that you nag me about something, the less chance you are going to get any kind of a satisfactory reaction or answer. All right? In general, if you remind me of something once, that's enough. If you're someone who literally pokes me like this, Phil, hey Phil, 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 hey Phil, what about Phil, Phil, and a Phil, and a Phil, Phil, Phil. What it feels to me like is like I'm standing here and there's a little 5-year-old kid pulling at my pants like, me. And it's not a way to get a satisfactory reaction. If anything, you're going to get exactly the opposite of the intended result because you're bothering me, okay? And in fact, yes, I get pissed when people act like that and makes me not want to be pleasant. Let's put it that way, okay? And by the way, this is not anything personal against anyone out there because I know many people over the years probably were very interested in hearing my take on something or getting an answer about something, and they just really were so focused on that they bothered the shit out of me, and then all of a sudden I get angry and I explode on a stream, which is what the intended reaction is sometimes for this kind of stuff. Let's see if we can get Phil to blow his top on stream and go over the top, and let's do montage reactions and laugh at him and ha 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 ha. Shut up. But anyway, yeah, in general, just chill. Be chill. You know? Be chill about everything. If you're chill about everything, I'm going to be chill about everything. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it's all about. You want an answer to a question, ask me once. If I don't answer it right away, let it go for now. You come back to it later. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for this kind of stuff. In particular, Lord Shiugaroth literally has vocally made it his campaign to become a moderator on my streams. Now, I want you to think about this. Someone who was getting into trouble on my streams for being basically way overzealous and kind of going about the boundaries of what you should do on my streams, actually got moderated at one point, got unbanned. For the most part, has been behaving since then, which is good. But then has a desire to become a moderator, applies to be a moderator, and then literally every moment, well, I applied to be a mod. I wonder if I'll be a mod. Can I be a mod? Hey, did you guys know I applied to be a mod? Fill in and respond to my mod shit. Hey, just so you guys know, fill in and respond yet. So guess what? You're not going to be a mod right now. It's that simple. In general, and this is another rule of thumb as well with me, what I've noticed is the following. The people who don't make a big to-do about shit like that are usually the best candidates. Like, I'll get contacted by someone behind the scenes and be like, hey, Phil, could I be a moderator on your streams? I'm a frequent attendee, and, you know, I like your content. I've supported you maybe over the years a little bit here or there, and I've recently noticed that I attend more, and I noticed that maybe you have a low modship on a particular time of the day or whatever, and I'd like to help out. And usually I'll sit there and I'll weigh and balance it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, but it sounds good or whatever. Or sometimes not. In particular, actually, Lord Shiagra, just so you know, you're not the only person who applied for modship this week. There's actually several people who all applied at once. And right now, the only person who actually was brought on as a moderator was a former moderator who stepped down last year and decided they'd like to come back and help out again. I have not taken on anyone new, all right, to be a moderator. And in particular, when it seems like people are starting these big campaigns to be a moderator of my content, usually there's an ulterior motive behind it, or it's going to lead to problems. So the best way to go about this would be to chill, and eventually maybe I will pay attention to it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm looking to add someone or whatever, great. But right now, I'm not in any desperate situation or need for new mods regardless anyway. I don't know why you got that impression, because I never said that. Not once. So it is what it is. All right, please just chill. I think in general, you know, things will go well, and we'll see what happens in the future. All right. Also, shout out to Kevin B, who did a super chat. He's talking about having a stroke. Kevin, please stop with the bullshit. You know? Here's the thing that's hilarious to me. Today, I've decided I was going to share something personal with you guys about this numbness that I have at the top of my hand in a very specific area, right? There's some people who are more rational, and they're like, maybe you should get it checked out, or it's probably a pinched nerve, and you had a stroke, you know. Oh, yeah, that's the more likely thing that happened, right, is that I had a full-on stroke in my sleep, you know. You know, or it could be, it just could be, an alien came and sucked on my skin and sucked the feeling, right? He had a big sucker mouth. He said, he sucked the feeling right off my hand when I was in my sleep. Hey, it's not likely, but it's a possibility. So we got to talk about it, right? Lavrentiberia? The fuck does that mean? Does that name mean? I said mean name. What does that name mean? To the $1.50 and says, my ass is chafing. What do I do? There's no blanket answer for that, because it really is going to depend on the root cause of the chafing of your ass, right? I mean, the general answer would be solve whatever the root cause is that's chafing your ass and then soothe the ass. But I can't tell you how to do that because I don't know what it is. You could have a red hot poker shoved up your ass right now, in which case I would say remove the poker and soothe the butthole. But we don't know if that's the case. It could be something else. So I don't have these universal answers for you guys, okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for today's PreStream podcast. What do you guys think? You think that was a good one? All right. Let's end the podcast. Let's get set up here for some Elden Ring fun. Like I said, we got 3 optional dungeons to check out today and see what the hell's going on. I'm excited for that, and you know, and then we gotta talk for the next 3 days about what you guys want to see me do on Friday, because at this point I don't have an effing clue. I'm playing Kirby. That's about as much as I know. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and let's end the show. End the show. Sounds good. All right, thanks.